The island that appears. Once a year tonight. We're going somewhere that most people spend their whole lives searching for and never find. Not because it hides, but because it only shows itself once, briefly, to those who happen to be looking at exactly the right moment. You don't need to search for anything right now. You've already arrived. Let your breathing slow. Let your hands go heavy at your sides. And let the sound of my voice carry you the rest of the way there. There's a coastline ahead of you, grey stone and green water, and somewhere past the edge of what you can see, an island is rising out of the mist, the way it does once every year, and only once. Let's begin. You're standing on a headland somewhere along the western edge of Ireland, though which century it is, you couldn't say. The grass beneath your boots is damp and springy, cropped short by sheep you can't see, but can somehow hear, a soft bell clinking somewhere behind you in the dark. The air smells of salt and turned earth, and the particular sweetness of gorse in bloom, that faint coconut warmth threaded through the cold. You've walked a long way to get here. Your legs remember it, that pleasant ache of distance covered, and something in your shoulders is already loosening now that the walking is done. Below you, the sea moves unhurried, the tide sliding in and pulling back like something breathing in its sleep. And out past where the water meets the darkening sky, the mist is doing something it doesn't usually do. It's gathering, thickening in one particular place, low and silver, catching what little light is left in the evening and holding on to it. An old woman in the last village you passed through told you about this. Her voice matter of fact, the way people speak of things they've simply always known to be true. Once a year, she said, on an evening like this one, the island shows itself. Tir na nog, she called it, the land of the young. It doesn't ask anything of the people who find it, only that they be there to see it. You didn't fully believe her. Not until now. The mist parts like slow-drawn curtains, without ceremony, and there it is. Hills, the colour of green glass, softer somehow than any hill you've stood on before, rising gently out of water that has gone the deep, warm blue of dusk. There's a shoreline of pale sand, and behind it, trees. More trees than should fit on an island that size, orchards climbing the slopes in every direction, heavy with blossom, even though you can't place the season anymore. You've lost track of whether it's spring or autumn. It doesn't seem to matter here. If anything, it might be both. A boat is waiting for you at the water's edge, though you don't remember it arriving. It's small, a curragh, tarred black, riding light on the shallows, as if it barely touches the water at all. You climb in, without needing to think about how. The oars are already resting across the sides, smooth wood worn pale by hands you'll never meet. And when you dip them into the water, the boat moves on its own, or nearly its own, gliding out from the headland toward that gathered light on the horizon. The crossing takes no time at all, and somehow also takes a very long while. Neither troubles you. The water beneath the boat is clear enough that you can see down into it, deep green fading to black, and once, just once, something pale moves far below, unhurried, curious, gone again before you can decide what it was. There doesn't seem to be anything here to be afraid of. The air grows warmer as you go, the way air warms near a fire, and somewhere on the wind you catch the sound of music, very faint, strings, and something like a low horn, carried and then lost, and then carried again. The boat noses onto the sand without you steering it there, and you step out onto a shore that's warm, even through your boots, sand fine as flour, pale gold in a light that comes from nowhere in particular. There's no sun in this sky, and no need for one. The whole island seems to hold its own soft glow, the way a coal holds warmth long after the flame has gone, and everything you look at seems lit gently from within. You walk up from the shoreline into the orchard, and the trees close overhead like a pair of cupped hands. These are apple trees, you realize, but the apples hanging from them are silver, each one catching the light and throwing it back in small, cool flashes. And when a breeze moves through the branches, the whole orchard chimes softly, like 1,000 tiny bells struck by something gentle. You reach up without quite deciding to, and let your fingers close around one of the apples. It comes away from the branch easily, warm despite its color, and the tree doesn't seem to miss it at all. Another blossom opens where it hung. Further up the slope, the trees open onto a wide green sward, and there, in the middle distance, stands a hall. It isn't grand, not in the way you might expect a king's hall to be. It's low and long, built of pale timber gone silver with age, its roof thick with turf and small white flowers. Smoke rising from somewhere inside in a thin, unhurried thread. Light spills from its open doorway in a warm gold rectangle across the grass, and the sound of music you heard from the water is louder now, close enough that you can make out the shape of a tune, though you couldn't hum it back if you tried. People are moving in and out of that doorway, and near it, sitting on the grass or leaning against the timber walls. More people still, and they all have the particular ease of those who have never once been in a hurry. No one looks up sharply when you approach, and no one asks your name, or where you've come from, or what you want. A woman near the door simply moves aside to make room for you, the way you'd make room for someone you'd been expecting all along, and someone else presses a cup into your hand without a word. Something warm and faintly sweet, tasting of honey, and something you can't name. Something like the smell of rain on hot stone. You find a place to sit near the doorway, where the warmth from inside and the cool of the evening meet in a comfortable middle ground. And you let your back rest against the timber wall. It's solid behind you. Old wood, sun-warmed even now, in whatever hour this is. The music continues somewhere inside, unhurried, curling back on itself the way slow water bends across a long flat plain, never quite repeating, never quite new. You don't recognize the instrument. It doesn't matter. Your whole body seems to be listening whether you decide to or not. Nobody here is in any hurry to do anything. That's the thing you notice most. Once you've been sitting a while, once the cup in your hand has gone from warm to simply held. There's no clock on this island, no bell to mark the hours, no task waiting to be finished before rest is allowed. Somewhere off to your left, 2 figures are mending a net, their hands moving slow and sure, not because the net is needed urgently, but because their hands like the work and the evening is long. Further along, someone is braiding grass into a long cord for no reason you can see, humming along under the music from the hall. A dog the color of wet sand is asleep across the doorway, one ear twitching now and then at some private dream. You ask no one, and no one asks you how long you might stay. That question doesn't seem to belong here. Time on this island moves like the tide, in and out, patient, without any destination in mind. You could stay an evening or stay 100 years, and it would feel from the inside like a single unhurried night. The old woman on the headland told you that too, though you understand it differently now that you're sitting inside it. Not a warning. Just how the place is built. Someone brings food out to where you're sitting. Bread, still warm from wherever it was baked. A soft cheese. More of those silver apples, cut open now to show pale gold flesh inside, sweeter than any apple you've eaten before. You eat slowly because there's no reason not to. The music drifts. The light holds steady in that same soft gold it's held since you arrived, neither brightening toward morning nor fading toward true dark. Simply resting in this one gentle hour and staying there. Later, though later doesn't mean quite what it usually means, someone leads you further up the slope, past the hall, to a bower built low among the trees. It's less a room than a kind of nest, walls of woven willow, soft with moss, a roof of branches thick enough to hold back any weather, though none seems inclined to trouble this island. There's a bed inside, made of dried grasses, and something soft you can't identify, covered over with a cloak, the color of the sea at dusk. And when you lie down on it, your whole body seems to exhale at once, the way it does after a very long day, finally allowed to end. Through the woven walls, you can still hear the music from the hall, fainter now, and beneath it, the sound of the sea somewhere below, patient, unhurried, in and out. A bird you don't recognize calls once, far off, and isn't answered, and doesn't seem to need to be. The apple blossoms outside your bower stir faintly, in a breeze that carries no chill at all, only the scent of green things and salt water, and something like wood smoke, somewhere, banked low for the night. There is no dragon sleeping under this hill, no riddle waiting at the hall's high table, no task to complete before you're allowed to rest. Nothing here is asking anything of you. The island asked only that you find it, and you did, and now it seems content simply to hold you, the way the tide holds a boat that's been pulled up safely onto warm sand. Your eyes have that particular heaviness that comes near the end of a very good day. The music from the hall grows fainter still, folding itself into the sound of the sea, and the two of them together make something like a single low note, held and held, the kind a hand might hum instead of sing. Somewhere outside, the mist that once parted to show you this place has begun, very slowly, to gather again, the way it always does, long after you've stopped noticing. But that isn't your concern tonight. Tonight, you're only this, warm, unhurried, held by a bed of soft grass under a roof of quiet branches. On an island that exists precisely because someone once a year is tired enough and open enough to find it. You may already be somewhere close to sleep yourself, which feels right, given where we've spent this evening together. An island that only appears when it's needed, holding you exactly the way it held you tonight, without asking for anything in return. If your eyes have closed already, that's not rude at all. That's the whole point. I'll leave the music playing faintly somewhere behind you, and the tide going in and out below the hall, for as long as you need it. Rest well on that quiet green shore. Good night.